beyond success, how this collaboration shaped the future of their careers. When the series first premiered, it arrived into a fierce and crowded marketplace. Viewers, conditioned by past hits and shaped by social media chatter, responded with immediate comparisons. From costume design to narrative pacing and the so-called chemistry between the leads, every frame was scrutinized. That instant backlash can crush momentum before a show finds its voice. But this early friction also revealed something vital. The audience was emotionally invested enough to argue. In that noise, seeds of curiosity were planted. Far from being a death knell, the critique became a public conversation about risk and expectation. For Bai Lu, who'd already built a reputation on nuanced, magnetic roles, this moment demanded a recalibration. Less about proving superiority, more about revealing depth. For Joseph Zeng, it was an audition in real time. Could he match the intensity and subtlety required when the story evolved? The rocky start ultimately set up a narrative arc that the audience could watch and, crucially, change with. The drama now had the rare asset of public attention. Not all praise, but enough interest to let its later rise feel earned and cathartic. As episodes unfolded, the writers and the actors tightened the screws. Plot threads that had felt loose in episode 1 were woven into taut, surprising strands. Character motivations clarified, stakes escalated. The series shifted from hesitant to relentless, creating a compulsion to binge. You could feel the polarity flip. Previously skeptical viewers became avid defenders. Casual scrollers became daily watchers. Technically, the pacing and editing choices began to highlight performance beats in ways that accentuated internal conflict. Close-ups lingered, silence was heavy, and small gestures spoke volumes. Social media began to amplify memorable moments, a single look, a decisive line, or a melancholic score cue. That cumulative momentum pushed the show past milestones, 10,000 popularity points and an incredible daily viewership. But numbers alone don't explain the magnetism. The real driver was the narrative's willingness to embrace moral ambiguity and emotional complexity. The show became a mirror for viewers' frustrations and hopes, feeding back a compulsion to return. What began as a modest offering metamorphosed into a cultural conversation, and the climb felt less accidental and more inevitable in hindsight. Bai Lu arrived on set with the quiet confidence of a performer committed to truth rather than spectacle. Early critiques called some choices safe, but those choices were deliberate. She layered restraint over a character whose power is internal, not performative. Watching her, you see an actor sculpt emotion with micromotions. The way she retracts when threatened, or the split-second lift of an eyebrow that reveals an internal calculation. That craft is invisible until you look closely, and criticism often misses nuance. As the arc deepened, Bai Lu's scenes accumulated emotional weight. Vulnerability evolved into resolve, and what critics labeled limitation became a study in containment and release. Her tears after the milestone were not a breakdown but a complex exhale, relief, vindication, and joy. This achievement reaffirmed her status, not merely a box office magnet, but an artist who can sustain a performance across tonal shifts, making the audience feel the character's interior life. The result is a reappraisal. What once looked familiar now reveals new layers, and her reputation for reliability transmutes into a benchmark for subtle power acting. Success often hides a pressure cooker behind its glittering facade, and this project was no different. Early promotional appearances showed Bai Lu and Joseph Zeng measured, polite, yet palpably tense, two young stars aware that the industry watches every breath. The production's early uncertainty leaked into late nights, script rewrites, and a constant search for tonal balance. That kind of pressure sharpens some performers and humbles others. Here it revealed character. Bai Lu's craft deepened when the margin for error narrowed. Joseph Zeng, navigating newfound scrutiny, learned to convert nervousness into a focused intensity on set. The invisible workload, emotional preparation, physical exhaustion, and relentless public commentary creates a crucible where genuine performance either fractures or hardens. For both actors, it did the latter. They found a shared language of trust, which made private rehearsals and on-set improvisations richer. The public only sees the final frame. The private labor is where artistry is forged. That invisible labor, when acknowledged, makes their public triumph feel less like luck and more like the inevitable reward for quiet, sustained discipline. There are moments in showbiz that crystallize an arc, and this was one of them. The milestone notification, breaking 10,000 popularity points, arrived like a lightning strike. Joseph Zeng's immediate reaction was to call Bai Lu, a gesture that revealed the intimacy and shared investment of their collaboration. On that call, layers of tension dissolved into tears, not just the relief of a ratings win but the validation of countless unseen sacrifices. That private exchange became a public story because it touched a universal chord, the moment you realize your struggle mattered. It also speaks to professional solidarity. Neither actor claimed sole credit, both acknowledged the team, the writing, and the audience's role. For viewers, that raw human exchange reframed the project from product to pilgrimage. The phone call was a punctuation mark on a long sentence of hard work, and the emotional release humanized two stars often filtered through paparazzi lenses. In that crying moment, fans saw a favored image: talent paired with humility, success paired with gratitude, and that combination is a rare commodity in a world hungry for headlines. This breakthrough solidified a larger truth: Bai Lu is more than a trending hashtag, she's an anchor in contemporary drama. The industry's label of bankable can be reductive, but in her case it's earned through consistent emotional acuity. Her choices show an actor comfortable with restraint and risk in equal measure, able to inhabit a role so fully that supporting characters orbit her gravity. That magnetism translates into cultural capital. Platforms notice, writers give meteor material, and audiences follow. But the deeper story is how she translates public attention into artistic momentum. Rather than resting on reputation, she uses milestones to challenge herself and select roles that expand her range. For the next chapter of her career, this success allows her to demand nuance and complexity from scripts and collaborators. Joseph Zeng's parallel ascent also benefits. Performing opposite someone of her caliber raises his game, and the pairing becomes a case study in reciprocal elevation, two careers buoyed by mutual trust and matched ambition. In short, Bai Lu's status is less about popularity and more about hard-earned influence, the kind that shapes trends, raises standards, and inspires peers. It's easy to get lost in metrics, points, views, trends, but the real legacy is emotional resonance. Audiences tuned in not merely to watch plot mechanics, but to witness a struggle that mirrored their own, doubts made visible, resilience performed, and quiet victories celebrated. Characters that are flawed, reactive, and redeemable create identification. Viewers see parts of themselves reflected. That is the heart of lasting storytelling. For Bai Lu and Joseph Zeng, the show offered an opportunity to expand beyond archetypes and occupy space in the viewer's interior life. The tearful phone call, the late-night rehearsals, the subtle shifts in performance. These are human currencies that buy lasting audience loyalty. Critics may write paragraphs, viewers carry memories. And those memories translate into long-term affection that no metric can fully capture. The project, therefore, becomes a cultural touchstone, not because of a momentary spike, but because it gave audiences permission to invest, to rethink, and to cheer for the slow, messy process of growth. This success will be measured in more than awards or chart positions. It will be measured by the roles Bai Lu chooses next, the directors who pursue Joseph Zeng, and the stories that now feel possible on mainstream platforms. The milestone rewrites industry conversations about risk, showing that patience, careful character work, and emotional honesty can still cut through a noisy entertainment ecosystem. For Bai Lu, it's another credential in a career that keeps redefining what mainstream acting can look like: unstaged, intimate, and demanding. For Joseph Zeng, it's a passport to more complex territory and a chance to show he can do more than charm. He can sustain nuance. Together, they've contributed to a larger creative climate that values depth over spectacle. The legacy is not a finished monument but a living effect. More challenging scripts, bolder casting, and an audience increasingly hungry for performances that take them somewhere unexpected. This milestone will be cited in future interviews, not as proof of fleeting fame, but as evidence that authentic craft still resonates.
Closing, call to action.
That's our deep dive into the emotional arc and career implications behind this major entertainment moment. What grabbed you most? Bai Lu's quiet resilience, Joseph Zeng's steady growth, or the human moment of the phone call that broke through the headlines? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love reading your perspectives and debating the finer points of performance. If you enjoyed this in-depth analysis, please like, share, and subscribe to LVT Showbiz for more stories that peel back the curtain on stars and storytelling. Hit the bell icon to never miss an episode, and if you want us to analyze a particular scene or performance, tell us which one and we'll break it down next. Thank you for watching and supporting thoughtful entertainment coverage. Your engagement helps keep these conversations alive. See you in the next video.